invading our left side. I think keep hiding.
Hiding.
Okay, patient. Looking by.
Bye plus Ash.
Ash now.
Ash no flash. The range is short.
One.
Okay.
Foreigners here.
네, 일로 갈게. Ash no flash. Ash is dead.
Oriana.
Nice jump.
And they use that Baron, push in. They've got enough money and another one.
There's a 4-man pop blocks and everyone is just put into the blender. TL, they do want to get out of this game. Move to that game number 3.
We can't go out like this. We worked 10 months of this year as hard as we could. We cannot go out like this. Stop dropping your head. I understand the frustration, but we are a better team than this. So think about what it takes to win the next 2 games, please.
Yes.
Okay? I want us to go out there and be positive. I love the energy at the start of the game. Shit went wrong at the start of this game. Okay, they need to beat us another time. We still get 2 more cracks at beating them. Okay? So chin up, let's go.
Yep.
All right?
What a leader, and they couldn't bleep all of his swear, so Spawn's got you there, Riot. But yeah, I love seeing these clips. Team Liquid has been posting a lot of them, and I like them. I don't know what you think.
I love them. I mean, I have so much respect for Spawn. Obviously, like, he was a friend to me first. You know, I've known this guy for a really long time.
I hate him.
He was a caster with him. And I think he's an incredible coach. And he's also one of those guys that doesn't just ask for perfection from his team and from his players. He expects it of himself. You know, he's someone that always talks about, I need to be there before the first player arrives. I need to be there after the last player leaves. If I'm going to tell you, you need to practice 12 hours, 14 hours a day, I'm going to be there 15. I'm going to be there 16.
700 games. He was talking to Core
700 hours.
700 hours, sorry.
Yeah.
That's slightly different. And hey, it paid off. This is a speech he made right before Team Liquid acquired the highest goal difference at 14 at Worlds so far, Dagda. So, you know, you see how far it can go if you have the right mindset, and a lot came, of course, off this level 1.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you have the right level 1, definitely helps. And nice ward, or nice setup here early to catch out as GAM are moving in. That ward just in the tri-bush, kind of expecting that maybe GAM are going to try to move in for some sort of lane swap or to get vision, and it's just a really, really nice punish coming through from TL. And the fact that you get this gold onto UmTi then sets him up not only to get the early Tiamat, so then he can clear his camps faster, be out on the map and do things like this, where he impacting his lanes as a pre-level 6 Nocturne, but also then he just hit that level 6 and it's such a major factor in the plays.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was a lot of close skirmishes though. Credit to GAM for not just rolling over and dying here, you know, in the early game. After level 1 like that goes bad, you know, chances are that is probably going to decide the game, but, you know, likely the only way to get out of it is to fight your way out of it. And they were very close, you know, 1 auto away on APA, 1 auto away on Impact on top side. Had a couple of those fights gone a little bit different, they might have been able to start to claw their way back in.
Necessary confidence game, I think, from UmTi Ezreal, because I feel like he's been hot and cold.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, his early games, especially against the LPL teams, were actually quite good. He's just had these kind of like big moments where, you know, he falls a little bit flat and can cost him so much. So he is very much a confidence-based player. When he is feeling himself, he's looking really, really strong, but he can get down on himself very quickly when he has a bad play. So, you know, you have to hope for TL's side that this game gives them some confidence, makes them feel a little bit more comfortable, and they can show what we know they are capable of on stage going in Game 3.
Yeah, and I think like the confidence was definitely there for UmTi, like invading onto the top side, making sure that there was no way that Levi was going to get any sort of control back in this game. And if TL are able to run through, I mean, you can see on the post-game breakdown here, that goal graph, it was clean, decisive, constantly putting pressure on towards GAM. And this was more what I expected from TL coming into this. Yes, it came off of a good level 1, but it felt like TL finally got back on the horse and were like, yes, this is our style, we can play through this.
Yeah, and we were talking about it, Ezreal, and you were saying that you want to like keep your feet on the ground, I guess, because of that level 1, right? And because of how far they got ahead, and because how kind of done this game was before it even started.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one of those things where it's hard to know how much do you really take from it, because not only did you get 1 kill, you got 2 kills at level 1. You got them onto, you know, primary members that were then able to really snowball the game. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they can replicate that going into Game 3, but you have to hope that that gives them confidence. And it was good to see that they then did snowball the game really, really well with the advantage that they were given, because that was one of their hallmarks in the LCS, is that if you gave this team a lead, they take over your jungle, they choke you out, they fight you at every turn, and they never really give you a way to get back in.
No, and something that, you know, we talk about often with GAM, and you alluded to the fact that they want to be definitely a more well-rounded team that isn't just known for their early prowess, but playing out the mid to late games. I still don't think they're up to snuff if you go against competition that should be better at it for GAM. I think we even saw it in game 1. We did not really see it in this one, but this is something that I'm going to keep my eye on, because that is, for me, we talk a lot about what TL has to show, but for me, how I think they really go a level further than they have in the past.
Yeah, I think for GAM, it's a little tough when you do end up falling behind like this. And as we already kind of said, like, fair play to them for trying to make these plays happen and trying to make it work. But I think that's where having that aggression in the early game is actually going to almost be something they need to bring back into their game. Because I think if you give TL the opportunity to play into what has been their style, as you said in the LCS, of, hey, we're looking for jungle invades, we're going to try and shut down Levi, I think that's where you're really going to be set up.
Here we have the draft from TL in the game 1 loss and then the game 2 win. And we know that the VCS GAM is going to the blue side for this third and decisive game. Ezreal, so lecture me on what you want to see.
Honestly, I was a pretty big
side.
fan of their second game draft. I think it's just a lot more stability for Impact. It's something they can have some power in lane against, because let's be honest, Kiaya is looking ridiculously good. I don't think you want him, just to fully give up all lane pressure. And, you have a pretty easy to execute composition here with the Nocturne plus the Neeko. You're obviously playing full dive. And the people that have had the most faith in at Worlds is the bot lane. So I want to see them playing around Yeon, give him a carry, let him really shine, because this guy has just been stellar, I think, for Team Liquid.
Yeah, I think also coming into it, although TL did win with it, I think I'd prefer to see them locking in the Orianna early. I think Emo has had some good plays on it, nearly getting the kill onto APA. In game 1, he had some good moments with it as well. So I think if you're going to try and take anything away, I think it should be focused on getting that Orianna, then on towards the Nocturne, and then see if you can move on from that position. But even on the bot lane as well, just having something that unlocks Corejj. I really like when Corejj can work with UmTi to go for these invades and set up. Now, having like things like the Ezreal, I think support that fantastically. I just want to see them continue through that style.
We'll see indeed for Team Liquid. Now is it's a time to not be nervy anymore. You hopefully got it out your system in that game 1, and you have the most confidence-giving game you could ever have in game 2. But I would be remiss if I did not give GAM a little bit of credit in situations just like this, when they are with their backs against the wall, when they are the underdogs going into a matchup like this at Worlds. I think we have a couple of very nervous Team Liquid fans on the other hand. Maurits, I'm talking to you.
Are you a nervous Team Liquid fan,
Yeah, well, I don't like this reversal of roles, first and foremost. Yeah, they're a Dutch org,
Yeah,
like all the way back. I grew up watching StarCraft. TeamLiquid.net was like the hub for all.
I lived on those forums, man.
Right.
And let's see whether they can do it again. Kobe, you and I were having a conversation before. I was like, I'm so jealous of these players that get the spawn pep talk before every game. And then I realized that for the first 4 years of my career, I had that every day.
We used to get them. Very
Now I get the
unfortunate.
Chronicler mustache field pep talk instead, and it's a different kind of magic. As now, TL going to be banning away the same champions here, Aurora and the Shyvana, both being taken off the board. The Skarner as well, sticking around. It does look a little bit like a reversal, but this time, GAM, they get first choice, and I think the Nocturne is going to be such a dangerous one. The Yone, still there, and I think still warrants a ban.
They have
the
to.
Kai'Sa.
Yeah, have to ban the Yone still, so you're kind of just giving over the Nocturne. Or do you have to?
Well,
a lot of
that's
teams.
the question.
A lot of teams have asked that question at Worlds, and the answer keeps on being yeah.
I feel like Yone gets banned a few games, and you're like, but what if we let it through?
What if in an elimination game?
Yeah, no, let's not do that.
We're not doing it.
Okay.
Well, the Jax is going to get all of the priority here. We'll be locked in first up. Does mean UmTi can go back to that Nocturne. Nocturne, Neeko, if they just lock them in again, it would make a lot of sense to me. But without the Kai'Sa, maybe it lacks a little bit of that extra oomph. And, not being able to guarantee the first 2 kills of the game at level, like at, minute 1 and 2, perhaps, is a little dangerous. But still, Nocturne a great consideration, at least as a pick away as well from Levi. Cassante for Impact. That's the theoretical thought of as perhaps a counter to Jax that we haven't really seen do that all that much.
Yeah, I think we've seen it both ways, where it feels like the Cassante is not going to have prio in lane, but he does become an immovable brick wall, and obviously the
Do they want to
utility is
steal
big.
Ori now? Or because Emo's Orianna...
They have to, right? Just lock it in again.
Oh my... Okay,
They
that's
do not.
Akali.
They do not.
They do not have to,
that's
nor do they want to.
That's blind Akali.
Blind Akali is an interesting option that you can go for there. I did feel like, with the circle vibe that they were going for, with the fact that, Emo has looked great on the Orianna, it felt like a no-brainer, but I mean, I like the confidence. Just slam it in. As, okay, Neeko going to be picked up as well. That 1-2 punch of the Neeko Nocturne is very scary. And so I think GAM, a lot of what they were thinking between games as well is draft didn't actually play that much of a part. It was the why we lost that game. Because the level 1 and then the follow-up play definitely what put them in the ground. And so going for something slightly different and letting TL have pretty much the same thing outside of the Kai'Sa.
What I'm always wondering with picks like this, though, is could you not have done this on a second rotation? Because I don't think TL were necessarily going to be looking to ban it out. Yeah. And maybe have already seen what you were going to pick. Does make the mid-jungle really lethal post level 6 when you have all that burst and CC and setup available.
Especially because, you know, APA already is coming off a good Neeko game and wants to play a large AoE. If you're going to draft all melee into a large AoE here, that could make things difficult. GAM showing so early on in the draft that it's double melee solo laners. We'll see if it's problematic. You know, Akali, of course, is very mobile for a melee champion, so can work around some angles. But with Akali, you know, not being that strong pre-6 and Wukong also not being a strong pre-6 jungle, it does feel like they're kind of giving them time.
The bot lane pool is really getting pinched here. So TL actually banning the Xayah away themselves. I do think Xayah is better on the GAM side than is on the TL side. I think with champions like Akali and Wukong or Jax, once they're on top of you, like, I don't think the Xayah ult does that much. As we're not going to get baited in by anything.
I kind of like the Samira angle.
A ton of frontline. This is a blind pick. I think the Ashe makes the most sense. This is something that we have obviously already seen. Would be a lot of Faith being played. As it's probably going to be Ashe. Ezreal, I think, is really good. Yeah. It just slots into any composition.
Well, and you're seeing all this melee and coming straight for you. Yeah. So good to have another disengage, especially with the cover of darkness.
Yep, the Jhin being a consideration here for EasyLove. Pretty hard to follow up on Wukong, Jax, and Akali that can just launch themselves into a fight. So something that can stay in range, certainly a decent idea there. As still considering it, as we're still having a giggle as well.
That's what I figured, right? Like,
yeah, no, I don't think the vibes took much of a hit. And GAM pretty good at vibes, let's be honest. As there is the Jhin lock-in. Elio, let's see where he's going to go. Could be his first game off Braum this series as well, which I do like. I think that when a support is put on Braum duty, it should be only 2 games in a row. Otherwise, you can get like Braumitis, which is just, it really does affect your self-esteem.
It's a terrible sickness.
Yeah, it's an affliction. I remember my friend Ejim really did suffer from that one. Is Poppy going to be the lock-in instead? Okay, replaces the door with a hammer, and it's Corejj that picks up that door. We'll see whether he does actually lock this one in. Certainly a few other options that could be available here.
So you are playing Braum into melees, which I think you're generally going to be happy with. It gives you a lot of early game power. It does make your comp, I think, pretty awkward. I like this a lot more. Yeah. Obviously, your laning is going to take a hit, and trying to play Rakan into Poppy is much easier said than done, which is why I'm looking over at Kobe. He's not looking too happy about it.
Oh, I'm good. I'm feeling good.
It felt like, to me, the Braum would really... I don't know how much utility it would reliably provide, because I also think that the type of melee champions that GAM have are able to evade, you know, like the kind of linearity of a Braum shield relatively easy. And the follow-up of that, Rakan with the Nocturne and Neeko quite strong.
I mean, it's truly philosophical, because do you want to add more tools to your Nocturne Neeko engage? Which I actually do feel very comfortable with.
I think they should.
Team Liquid have really relied on Corejj's engage. So if you're putting him on the Braum, then you would be putting him on trying to stop what GAM are doing, which is not necessarily a terrible thing, but I would much prefer them to play to Core's big strength of being the team captain, in-game leader, the one with the Rakan that gets to go with the Neeko and with the Nocturne, to actually be the ones dictating the pace rather than trying to react to GAM.
That being said, Elio is playing Poppy, which is not necessarily something a Rakan likes at all. And so we'll see how Core is able to play around the steadfast presence that can be such an incredible problem. But now, the final game of the day. It all comes down to this, ladies and gentlemen. Do or die for both TL or GAM. One of these teams has one last shot in another best of 3 here in Swiss. The other one goes home.
Team Liquid put out a video of Spawn talking to the team, after the first game as well, and he talked about them having worked a full 10 months, this whole year, for both of these organizations, does build up to this right here. Your world's life, your world's run either stops here or continues on with huge possibilities for either one. And the same is true for both these teams. So much work put in. And GAM, of course, having to deal with so many regional difficulties happening with the league. Yeah. And this team still being able to bounce back and fight back so heavily here versus the LCS #2 seed really speaks volumes, especially for, the players that were added late onto this team this year.
One of my favorite things is always where it starts off as, okay, getting on a planes. That's going to be the main objective. And then have an incredible performance. And then initially it feels like everything on top would be gravy. But now you are one game away from just making it to that final round of Swiss, which in of itself is already a huge achievement.
Thank you so much, Berlin. That 10 gold is extremely important. And Kiaya able to fish that one up. It's beautiful to see.
And especially for the Vietnamese player base. I mean, Vietnam has a giant player base, hugely passionate. So always great to see them find some success on the international stage. Meanwhile, Team Liquid have a lot of expectations to live up to. And now is the time.
Well, let's see what they can actually get done here without having 2 kills by this time in the game. This is going to be a little bit more honest League of Legends. And speaking of which, no lane swaps as well, which I know certain Isaac, Ezreal, Cummings, Bentley would agree with. Not a huge fan of the lane swaps.
He was previously cursed, so let's kind of distance ourselves from that.
As Elio has taken so much damage, maybe mentioning his name's going to work out for TL because that's first blood for Corejj. EasyLove not able to get too much done.
That bot lane, you can definitely count on this TL bottom lane.
Yeah, 2v2,
2v2, they pull it off.
Mention his name and all things will come true.
How far we've come. And,
it's beautiful.
The journey along with that curse.
Curses aren't real, guys. Come on, get it together. I want to highlight how big of a deal this is, like just getting this into 2v2 in particular. Because if you look at the other lanes, I don't think too much is supposed to happen in mid lane. Obviously, top lane, Impact is going to be pushed in. And Levi and UmTi are just doing a hooking power farm to level 6 the fastest as humanly possible. So breaking open this lane early on, getting the cooldown out of Elio, you trade flashes, but early gold going over to Corejj and Yeon. Only downside is that obviously Core got the kill, so not the best in terms of gold distribution, but still TL off to an early lead again.
Yeah, and both junglers are, typical level 6 junglers looking for full clears. So if we do see some jungler intervention, probably around a little bit of scrapping maybe towards mid lane. If top lane gets a little dicey, you saw Impact trying to push Kiaya into tower for a little bit of tower damage there. And Kiaya did have to use one of the ward charges to jump back out. As you can see, the ward's still there, but aside from anything super spicy happening, I just expect second full clears for both jungles.
Do note, Levi did go back. UmTi did not. So UmTi is just going straight into his second full clear. Levi now going to do the crab and then go into that. Whereas UmTi, especially Raptors as a Nocturne, you cheat through very, very quickly.
Exactly, and you start on those Raptors so you can get that earlier second respawn. Mid lane, though, a little bit of a visit from Levi on the Wukong, hovering around there. But because Emo was chunked out too heavily,
is he just dead? Oh no, the blooming burst, and APA is still able to get it even after the flash.
Nice stuff there. I mean, the auto already in the air, so the flash does not save Emo. Emo down, flash down, APA finds his kill.
That's colossal, right? And Akali still has a lot of safety. I don't think this is as bad as when it is something like the Orianna that we had in previous games. But it does mean that even offensively, Emo is going to have a lot less space to play with.
And now, mid lane, a very viable place for ganks for both sides. Akali has Shroud and Neeko does have Clone, but since APA used his flash offensively to get the kill, either of the junglers might make a small visit.
Yep. And level 6 is not hit just yet as Kiaya going to find the counter-strike onto Impact. These health bars, just a lot of biffo, not a whole lot of result here between the top laners, but Impact really wants to get this one crashed in. Going to find that Q, in fact, just goes to Narnia. And Kiaya just going to keep trimming as best he can. This wave is going to come in though. He holds it in a pretty nice spot as Counter-Strike. Going to come down, just make Impact's day feel a little bit rough. Yeah, some all-out opportunities. Good little leap strike there to avoid the third Q. TL, still, it is 2-0. These little advantages that they've been able to pick up in the bottom lane, in the mid lane here, with just individual outplays, or duo outplays, I guess, that might happen again here as EasyLove trying to get himself out of the way. Elio not going to avoid too much of this damage as that Mystic Shot does go wide. We do get a little bit of a question mark there from Yeon. Love to see it.
And I don't think that the previous game seemingly impacted the GAM mentality too much, as they're still happy to scrap us. Hold that thought.
Honey fruit being eaten here is UmTi looking for Levi as Kiaya could be in trouble actually. Impact looking for a bit of an angle. You could see he wanted to line up that all out, but didn't really feel like going under the enemy turret. So he's going to press the button.
Yeah, UmTi, a pretty smart move here where he had both solo lanes pushing, and so he just comes to wait in the brush and wait to get a little health chunk onto Levi. Because the grubs are up and available, and you've got the reset from Corejj. Smite's available for both junglers here.
Yeah, both junglers want to get at least one grub for the extra experience. Try and make sure that they hit that level 6 first. But looks like it's going to be TL. That does have the prior impact. Still needs to TP back in.
APA's positioning here is so scary.
UmTi's not 6.
Yep, Elio in a lot of trouble here as the Blooming Burst hits twice. Emo now trying to move forward. Having to do some face checking is Levi, only level 5. There's the knock-up, but it's onto a clone. That's not really going to work out as a heroic charge now from Elio and APA. He's going to be taken out. Levi over the wall, trying to escape. He takes so long, but the Ignite will finish him off at the cost of Corejj's life. It's a trade up for GAM in this instance as UmTi was able to take one of those grubs, but they're not out of the woods just yet. Or is Kiaya the one that's in a lot of trouble? He gets speared, has the Counter-Strike, and that's going to keep them away. That is a 1-for-1 so far on the grubs, but a good trade for GAM in the kills.
Yeah, APA got juked on his ultimate there. Levi doing a very good job kind of baiting him in, and there was just the Jax with the ultimate on. Take a look at this. Here it is. Levi over the wall. So the very good job by playing around that ultimate by GAM. They avoid it, and then the slam into the wall from the Poppy here.
Kiaya also has Counter-Strike, so it takes less damage from the ultimate. Not really a suitable target. Extra tanky as well with the Grandmaster's Might. This game not being decisively swung one way or another. UmTi is now going to hit 6. Levi obviously is available as well, and both of these ultimates extremely impactful. 2 grubs for TL when all is said and done.
Yep. It was actually UmTi sneaking back and collecting that last one after all was said and done. So decently big for TL. Only need to get 1 to even things out in the next spawn, but also could grab themselves 5, which could be pretty dangerous as far as getting these side lanes in order.
The gold really is basically even, because 2 of those kills are on Core, who is Rakan.
Well, we'll see whether Core can use some of that money here as he moves back towards the bottom lane.
We're
I'm still trying.
Battle Rakan again?
Yeah, the Battle Rakan, man. He just, like, maybe he just builds a death cap. You never know.
Well, I think I
battle Wukong.
Yeah, well, in goes Levi. He'll find 2 with that Cyclone. The curtains have been called, and maybe they're aptly named, or maybe TL will just move themselves away. The 4th one not really going to be doing too much as True Shot Barrage is not going to connect onto Levi, but was pretty scary, so they are going to get out of there.
And GAM, as soon as they get the flash, I think they don't want to overextend into a Nocturne counter again, because that's the one thing. I think they definitely have enough damage to take down Yonder if they do chase, but you do run the risk of UmTi just ulting in. Could have been a big thing, and with just the flash, I think TL will happily take this trade if they can get the Dragon.
Yeah, exactly. Since you invested 2 ultimates there, there's no way you're fighting Dragon, so does allow Team Liquid the objective afterwards. UmTi can just slip in and hold on to the Nocturne ult. Nocturne ult, holding this actually puts a lot of pressure just by keeping the cooldown available. Yeah. The first Nocturne ultimate here kind of hanging over the heads of all of the laners. So
and entrance comes down a little bit late on the steadfast presence there from Elio as these Mystic Shots will connect. Yeon is going to be Arcane shifting forward, something dangerous when you don't have a flash, but of course with Arcane Shift, not having flash on Ezreal, not as bad as some other champions, as UmTi moving around, seeing whether there was going to be a cheeky Poppy underneath the turret.
And life's looking decent for Kiaya, who has been mostly left alone, able to pick up the couple of assists. Still doing good in the 1v1, but outside of that, looking bit dire here, and might have to be another carry job here by Levi and Kiaya. And Levi, Still completely even in farm, obviously. Didn't have his ultimate yet in that first fight, which is why, even with the nice clone play, we didn't see too much of impact. Maybe this
could be in a little bit of trouble. Oh, Counter-Strike not going to connect there. Levi gives away his position. So now Impact can play a little bit more carefully, especially with UmTi in the area. Paranoia in hand. Trying to bait this one out. As, okay, looking for a little bit of a gank, but there's the Paranoia towards the river. The grand entrance is gorgeous, and this is why we liked seeing the Rakan locked in. This combo is beautiful, and Corejj on a killing spree.
Well, Corejj also kind of deserves some because he's the one who found the target there and stayed right next to him to lock him up.
He got the CC chain. He did his work, but come on, Kobe.
He's taking his price, okay? That's our team captain right there. Ideally, of course, want a little bit more gold on the damage characters, but
you still get an ultimate hunter stack, it's fine.
I mean, yeah, Rakan getting a bit tankier in this one, maybe allow him to deal with the difficulties of playing into the Poppy and stuff like you guys kind of mentioned.
There we go.
Previously.
That's the kind of positivity that I'm looking out for. Yep. Appreciate it. Core now looking to scry out some vision here. We'll be able to do so. Impact certainly being protected a lot by his support and jungle so far this game, and you can see it has spelt an even lane state. We have seen some K'Santes really fall behind in this matchup and then just kind of not amount to very much. I think a lot of the idea of this champion in this matchup is that you get to the late game and you do more because you're a little bit more of a frontline than Jax otherwise would be. You can do those K'Sante things that Showmaker spams all the time and makes people upset.
Impact also is one, and I think Ezreal mentioned it a bunch of times already as well, but he's very, very happy to play for his team, which on some champions you just can't get away with. And K'Sante is one of them. Like, once you hit your 2-item core, obviously getting more items is good. We've seen K'Santes really take over games, but you already have a lot of utilities. UmTi this time going for a different build, going for the experimental X-Blade instead.
I think maybe it was just like an adaptation for the snowball with the fact that you can power farm so much more.
Well, that he's also playing into full melee this time around.
Yep.
Jhin excluded.
I like adding more of those opportunities to ult in as well. Kind of works out. As okay, Levi looking for a little bit of a cheeky steal here. As yeah, exactly right. 2 seconds now is the Paranoia up and available. Impact moving in. That is going to be no grubs picked up for GAM, but TL going to have to start them all over again. And it looks like GAM are just going to get out of there. I don't think they want to try and fight for this one. No mid control. And APA, in fact, is really going to drill that fact home. Just gets a flash out. Doesn't invest anything on his part.
Yeah, GAM definitely can't fight. I think correct call here. Just try and get something, you know, maybe minion wave into the tower on bottom side. Emo at least is trying in that effort. TL already recognized it though, and they sent Yeon down there. So Yeon, or excuse me, APA on the Neeko, again trolled by the minimap, but able to go collect that wave pretty quickly for himself, while Yeon himself actually completes the Trinity Force here to catch up with everybody else having their first items.
This is a lot of plates for a K'Sante. You don't see that a whole lot of the time, as they're just kind of moving around, trying to get that counter-strike out. They will get it, but they're not going to look for any sort of dive, not a massive amount of damage.
Look at the vision that's available here for TL. Like, Core and Impact can play that way because the entirety of that top side of the map is just completely... there we go. I can use this technology, guys.
It's beautiful.
It's completely.
I love that. Great circle.
Best circle I've actually seen all day.
Yeah.
Can you not?
I mean, it looked a little bit more like an oval, but that's fine. That's what we needed for that top side of the map.
Because of that, they can just push to their heart's content. Do a great job and keep the pressure up, because even though this game isn't anywhere as snowbally as particularly game number 2, this is still becoming a big problem for GAM. I think that they are going to quickly reach the point where it's one big fight, and this time I do think they have the ultimates to make that work. Again, a lot of this gold lead is on this Rakan. If they're able
gold
to get
Rakan carry potential.
If they can eat the early...
Zeke's convergence power spike, Atlas, I'm with you.
Sorry, Chronic Club.
I am with you.
I know, I'm feeling it. Look, it's already done. I mean, they've both got one item, but full boots? That is the difference in gold.
So trying to absorb the initial blow that's going to come out from TL, they're always going to be the one that want to try and play aggressive. And then on the counter engage with that Jhin, can do some magical
gorgeously
things.
Played there from Yeon. Getting out of the way of I mean, that was a fight potentially happening there, Chronicle. I apologize. It's still going to be Kiaya trying to get himself away. There's the flash all out from Impact. Can he get on top of Kiaya? He's running out of buttons. A flash of his own, but this is an all-out at K'Sante. It has some mobility, but so does a Jax, who just leaps over the wall. That is not a lot of summoner spells left. Nicely played there on both sides.
Still should be 2 objectives for TL though. With Impact solo winning top side, they can actually get that tower while they get Dragon.
And the big thing is he also sends Kiaya back. Kiaya had TP, Impact didn't. So if Impact doesn't find that play, Kiaya TPs towards the Dragon. That might have been a fight angle for GAM. Instead, Impact trades summoners even, but even though he doesn't get the turret, they get the objective. And Mountain, either of these teams can't afford to give it up, right? Like looking at the sub, Jhin, trying to play
Jhin
Akali.
does not do damage if they get more than like 2
it's not good.
Mountain Drakes. It's just, I mean, that would be
We also haven't talked about how
Nocturne coming.
Okay. Yeah, remember, no flash up and available. In goes UmTi. They look for it. That is going to be the keeper's verdict, but it does absolutely nothing. And now you've got Kiaya stunned up, charmed up, and destroyed. Elio could be the next one on the chopping block, as it's the tanky members of TL that are up here, and now the damage is arriving. Elio, I think he's just dead. The fear does go off, and APA, he collects his. TL just going from strength to strength.
Oh, and not only do they take out one of the best performing members of GAM, Kiaya goes down.
Oh, okay, that's a Cyclone, but the Pop Blossom is there. Picks up 2, but he dies. Immediately afterwards, now Yeon going to get back here once again. The curtains are being called now. And GAM, they could have found a turnaround. Into the Shroud goes Emo, but he doesn't find too much more. And UmTi, he's happy to take that Shuriken. And TL will back away. They do lose APA, though.
That's a little bit of a saving grace, because that's what I was about to say. Like, they TP'd Emo in as well. Like, they lose Kiaya, they lose the fight. If then Emo's TP is also wasted, it's really rough. So, at least getting a little bit of kill, a little bit of gold, getting the kill on APA, that's something. I still don't think it's enough to bring GAM back into this game. They need more, and they're looking.
Bit dangerous, but the mobility of both Rakan and Ezreal means that they can afford to stand this far up. And EasyLove starting to struggle here against the Trinity Force on Yeon. We know that this 2-item spike is coming very, very soon. This Ezreal is going to be extremely scary. And I have to say, this looks like drilled gameplay in this game from TL. I think in game number 1, it was a little bit more fast and loose, but this is keeping up on the vision, making sure that they have a game plan. There's an idea in mind in every move that they make. And the idea in mind here is kill them underneath this turret. In goes UmTi, finds another Paranoia. They focus down the turret to make sure that that doesn't kill Yeon, but now Levi's here. Can they get the turnaround?
Yes,
They've taken the turret, that's all you need. But he gets in, the quickness is so good, and they just look to blow up the Wukong. They'll take him down. Yeon has the barrier, but he doesn't have his life anymore. The perfect execution is exactly that. As Emo looks to try and pull it back for his team. And now Impact and UmTi against Elio and Emo. I think that TL like those odds, and Emo's going to have to just try and get himself out.
Emo really saving it there with his teleport, collecting those 2 kills, because it was a big play from Corejj to lock up Levi, but Emo equalized it. Meanwhile, you're getting mid push in exchange for bottom. Jax right now, by the way, is on that turret, so he will also finish up an outer. That one that we just saw APA take, though, mid lane secondary, worth a slight bit more.
And against a Nocturne comp as well, to have inner turret taken down. Let's have a look at this again.
So you can clearly see that GAM don't want to just give this up, right? And TL, I think they could have played a little bit slower, just as you're talking about restraint. They dive the turret when it's already this low. Teleport ends up being, I think, big here, because it means that GAM can't quite commit to the fight, but Emo is already in the back line. So gets the flash, gets the Q, still takes down Core, despite the fact you see UmTi for a second there be like, "Can I go?" And then he realizes, "Oh, I don't want to mess."
We cut the video there a little bit after the double kill for the Akali. I think in all of our best interest, as now the Rift Arrow going to maneuver its way down this bottom lane. This outer turret still up and available here as UmTi's just playing Biffo with Levi. And I think UmTi likes those odds as the curtain call does come in. He turns off the lights to try and stop those bullets from raining in, but it's just, yeah, too little too late here for GAM. Kiaya trying to get himself out, leaps over the wall and gets the blast cone as well to safety. UmTi on this Nocturne is looking so good.
Really is. Goes into bully Levi off his own red buff, steals the buff, takes his life. Now you get to drive the Rift Herald into the tower for the extra Void Mites, but APA locked up.
Yeah, Elio actually looking for the ulti onto APA. Not a lot of follow-up there at all. Of course, EasyLove, no curtain call up and available, and Emo just can't get in there. So TL almost taking down another inner turret, and this gold is starting to really balloon.
You might look at that previous graph and be like, man, this is not that big. It's 5K. The previous game was just a bit of a statistical outlier.
Yeah. But it's also all of the neutral objectives that were layered on in the early game for TL. You know, 5 Void Grubs helps them take towers really quickly. You saw all the extra Void Mites popping out of the Rift Herald. And then the ability to stack these dragons here. They should just head over to a Mountain Drake. But UmTi right now actually making his way through the top side of the river, making sure that they don't give away any like sneak plays to GAM while they go for that dragon. Want to make sure that you have some vision around your Baron.
I don't know, I feel like so much of this game is similar to game number 1. Will come down to Levi and Kiaya what they can find in some of these team fights, but otherwise I'm just not seeing as many of the comeback mechanics for GAM in this game. TL, I feel like they have just a lot of the answers available, and that is going to be the first Mountain Drake and Mountain Soul Point going over to TL in this game. We spoke already about how the fact that Mountain Soul really can be a win more button for a lot of teams. And in this composition, certainly will work out that way for TL. I don't know how relevant it's going to be, though. This game is looking really difficult anyway, as Kiaya, he's got a target on his back. He was so good in game 1, and they're looking to try and shut him down once again. And there's the bullet we call UmTi, diving in on top. He's fleeing while he's trying to get that counter-strike down, and it's not going to work. The auto is in the air, as it was earlier on, and APA secures the kill. And now with the Jax dead, it could be Baron time for TL.
Really good from TL here. Another side lane pick. Now turning their sights to force GAM into their own hands here. It's going to have to be some face check.
Yeah, there is also multiple TP wards here. Emo just finishes his Shadow Flame. He's going to try and look to turn this around. There is the TP. Jhin trying to get as much damage as possible. Levi looking for a steal as well. They do not know about this Akali yet.
Yeah, the Shape Splitter was so good at blocking some of these bullets, but the last one does come through. Emo, can he find the angle? That's the question. Is EasyLove going to get knocked up and taken down? Elio going to be the next one. The Akali just going to get in time. UmTi now trying to fight him, but it is one kill going over. Yeon could be in trouble next, but the all-out, the savior that is Impact, is able to take him down, and Yeon limps away with single-digit health. TL, they win the fight, but GAM got so close.
Crucially, though, GAM denies the Baron at least for now. Elio escapes with just a little bit of health, but Emo getting onto the backline there, absolutely huge, but disengaged for Core.
Yeon escapes with even less, like 15 HP or something, as Impact tried to just peel for him. Here's another look at the turn, though. Core, as you mentioned, right out of the gates there, starts it out. Good turn from Team Liquid, but Emo, the Akali, the hope from GAM into the backline, and Impact ults him away. Yeon barely able to live and get that with TL coming out ahead.
And once again, I think we saw picture-in-picture that Kiaya was in a little bit of trouble, as, not exactly elation here.
It's not done yet.
Pretty much a wash. You can see no difference as far as the gold is concerned. Having a look at the damage in the team fight, APA and Yeon doing their jobs absolutely. But Emo, a real hero. We're starting to see why this Akali was picked up, and he's got some ground to cover. Shroud's down. This is somewhat dangerous, but he's not going to push up any further. Yeon on Corejj, just going to collect the wave. That is going to be that. In the bottom lane, we do have both UmTi and APA down there. So not going to be seeing another Baron attempt just yet, as Impact possibly set up on a flank angle, and you can see UmTi, he can attack anyone that is down here.
That's the issue. If you don't know where Nocturne is, you cannot look for a side lane collapse.
I have a fun fact for you. Yeon had literally 1 HP.
Oh, he just actually won.
Actually won, going back to look.
Literally
That is why you limit test, by the way, so that you can get to your exact limit. He found it. It's perfect. It's beautiful.
I've played League with you, Atlas.
Atlas is still looking okay. He didn't say Atlas.
You're not allowed to say anything mean to me again, Chronicler, because I'm still just, I haven't got to the 1 HP yet. It's mostly 0.
Still calculating.
Yeah, we're still calibrating.
It's the important thing. Right now, GAM, 6K, 6.5K gold behind, and once the soul comes through, that's it. They need a pick onto someone, but so many summoners are available. UmTi going in!
Yeah, they're just trying to find it. There's two with the Pop Blossom. It's not the most, but True Shot Barrage does so much as they dive forward. Emo trying to look for it, but once again, it's Impact that finds the angle, goes all out, and gets the Akali out of there. Now he's 1v3, and he likes those odds. The knock-up comes through. Kiaya is dead. Both of the solo lanes are down, and TL, I think they're still alive at Worlds.
They're going to stand tall. They're going to go grab their rewards here. The Baron picked up.
And GAM, you could see them looking, trying to find a mid lane fight, maybe an angle onto some of the background. But again, this Nocturne pick has been one of the breakout picks for Worlds for me. The amount of playmaking you take away once you get ahead with this pick is insane.
And it is so meaningful for Team Liquid as a whole, as a team, for UmTi to have another tool in the toolbox here for them, because he had been one of the players where people look at his champion pool and think that TL can only survive when he is on Maokai, Sejuani, Skarner, these tanks. But the Nocturne has been massive. Once again, he pulls the trigger with APA. It's the duo engage. And even though Poppy ultimate does go off, APA has already hit the ultimate before he goes flying.
Yeah, I think we want to call that a Poppy Blossom, because honestly, it worked really well for APA.
Meanwhile, Impact into the back line took care of the Akali for the rest of the team, and so TL just were able to chase forward.
Well, now a little bit more of a fight here as Kiaya is going to get pulled back by Impact. Now the curtains are being called, but the paranoia is down. Can't really see his targets, although there is a clone in there, just causing a ruckus. The rest of GAM trying to get themselves out of there. Levi is trying to be tricky, but it's just not quite working. Able to avoid that True Shot Barrage that may have just been his life, but now this is game over, right? If this goes down, it's game over.
That's the problem. GAM trying desperately to find something. They get away with their lives, but they lose something that I don't think they can afford to lose. This game was already in a dire spot, almost a 10k gold lead, but now with Mountain Soul, your one angle to come back, which is like a pick on APA when he's overextending. Yeon out of position, Corejj diving too deep. Like, that's just not going to happen. And I don't even want to talk about what Impact is now going to do. Look,
he's a 4-0-5.
He has
yeah,
almost
this is 300
armor.
Yeah, this is a Showmaker's worst nightmare, Cassante right now, wielded by Impact. And they're going to be able to take down this inhibitor turret. Emo does get some bounty gold, but it's just not really going to work. Bounty gold for Nex is not a trade you want to take, but there's not a whole lot more that they can do. Yeon in this mid lane is going to be able to take yet another. And TL, they are dotting I's and they are crossing T's, taking exactly what they need off this map. Levi, you can see hunting for an angle, hunting for an opportunity, but Impact just keeps pushing him back. He's a brick wall guarding Yeon, guarding him. He gets the double knock up with that Q3. And the Keeper's Verdict does come on through, but it's once again APA. He's pushed out of the fight. Pop Blossom still in hand. And now UmTi comes from behind the enemy Nexus to look to take down the opposition. Emo is just eviscerated in one swift stroke. And there's the Pop Blossom. Levi was the target, understandably so. And Elio, not a whole lot he can do. EasyLove just pushed back to the fountain, and TL will take down their second Nexus of the series and keep themselves alive at Worlds 2024.
They locked in the Nocturne again. They locked in the Neeko again. Those two that just hugged on screen, UmTi, APA, they're able to complete it here. Team Liquid lock it all down.
And GAM, still an incredible Worlds.
Yeah.
Still, I think, performance that they can be proud of. We can see it on the face of Levi, right? This is a series that felt winnable even in this final game. Unfortunately, they didn't end up making it happen.
I do have to say that game number 2, that was a stomp. Wasn't one that you felt fantastic about as either team, but this game was TL playing calculated, just better League of Legends. And I think that's exactly what you're looking for if you are a member of Team Liquid. But now it's time for us to throw it back to the analyst desk.
Thank you so much. Great cast. Straight off the plane into a cast. You guys are monsters. But anyways, it's Team Liquid that lives to fight another day. Before we get to the interview, we can immediately get to the Oppo player of the series, Ezreal. We decided to give it to Corejj for I want to say impact because it sounds weird because he's also on the team, for his impact in the games that TL won. It was unbelievable. And even in the game that they lost, maybe.
Yeah, I think he really has been a pretty big standout for them, throughout this entire event. But I was really impressed, especially in that last game, how he actually was playing around the Poppy, walking straight up onto the Poppy and Wing in place so he couldn't actually react and be able to interrupt him. How he was playing in the 2v2 was really impressive. They were able to get 2v2 kills, and once they got ahead in the bot lane, he just moved around the entire map, played really well with UmTi, was such a big part, as he always seems to be, of TL's success.
And this to me felt like TL domestically, where it was UmTi and Corejj working together to push people off, to find plays elsewhere. Like, yes, Yeon was doing a good job on the Ezreal, but it was, hey, we're going to try and play away elsewhere to get these leads and then just snowball the game. And APA, great pick on the Neeko as well, but honestly, Corejj just set them all up so well for success.
But you see why, because sometimes you're like, oh, the Neeko again, but you see why. He's so comfortable on it, and it can be absolutely destructive.
Absolutely, and I mean, I will give him the credit, even in the games that weren't really working later on, he was really good in the lane. This time he got a solo kill early on Emo, which was massive for him, and he really had that success in the team fights to boot, so it was a really promising game for TL. I would say this is by far the best game that they have played over the last 2 series. When you look at the Pain series and when you look at this series as a whole, yeah, game 2 they stomped, but it was really off of the level 1. This was lane leads that they actually created, and impact really showed up on the Cassante. Like, thanks for comfort. And shout out to you. Thank you for all you do at Worlds. Such a pleasure watching GAM and such a pleasure watching him.
Yeah, thank you, TK, and generally GAM. Oh, it is so bittersweet to see it with everything that's happening in the region, I should say, next year. And Levi, who we probably will not see again. And for how much he's done for the region overall, I love having the VCS at Worlds and at MSI and giving our teams a run for their money. They absolutely deserve, to be praised for what they always show.
Yeah, I think the fact that they show up every single year and show just what this region is capable of, especially when there's so much trials and tribulations to go through from years past, they still show up. They still are putting in commendable performances and taking down some of the top teams. It's always a great showing from them.
I mean, absolutely. And they do more than give us a run for our money. I mean, they beat TL last year at Worlds. They beat Mad this year at Worlds. Like, they're taking down our teams, and they definitely deserve the respect from that. They have some really strong players who obviously aren't going to get the same level of attention as some of the players from the big regions. But I think it's even more impressive to be able to do it with less resources, with less attention, and to be able to still come and show up.
I mean, everything that happened in the region as well, I think it's very commendable. We're just waiting for the interview to get set up. It's going to be with UmTi and Lore on stage. But any final notes?
No, I was just going to say for GAM, I think that I love that they always show up with their style. They never really come in and go, oh, well, I'm going to try and change things. I'm going to try and do something. It's like, no, I'm just going to show up and look right on the Wukong. I'm going to have all these plays. And I think that's really sick. And it really did push TL today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Levi is just, to me, one of those guys that I associate so heavily with the region. He has been incredible. We're going to miss him if he doesn't come back.
Indeed, but UmTi is standing by in the Verizon post-game interview with Lore.
And welcome back to the stage as Team Liquid come out victorious against GAM Esports. And their run at Worlds continues. UmTi, thank you so much for joining me after this series. How do you feel right now?
So, you guys ask for, how do you feel? After game 1, terrible. Game 2, feels so good that I shit on Levi.
Is that what matters? I'm sorry. I feel like a lot of this series was about the jungle, so how did it feel to come out on top, especially with the 2 Nocturne games you had?
Oh, so I think the game 1 was, there was a lot of my bad too.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I can play better than this. It cannot be more bad than this at the game 2. And I thought my team was playing so well. So I just tried to trust myself, come out to the stage, and just play again.
So about trusting yourself, I was looking up some stuff about you, some statistics, and I saw that you did a video teaching how to play Nocturne. You also had 2 good wins on Nocturne today. But then I looked at your win rate, and I saw that you had 40% win rate on Nocturne before coming in today.
Wait. I should fix one, guys. 1 second. So first thing, my win rate is, whole career is 40%, even though 600 game, guys. So 40% is not that low for me. It's high, guys. Are you serious? I'm serious, guys.
All things considered, everything is fine. We played a video of Spawn, the speech, the pep talk that he gave you guys between game 1 and game 2. And looking at you, you were religiously looking at him. let it all sink in, drinking what he was telling you. How important is it for you to have a pep talk from your coach?
So, yeah, I mean, my coach was just mentally worrying about me. I was a lot pinched at the Worlds because it's a tough scrims, guys. Eastern teams are strong. So it was tough, but they were just worrying me. But I was actually completely fine, and I can come back and bounce back. And my coach was so happy about that. I bounced back with my teammates.
Amazing. And you're going to keep on bouncing back 100%. But I want to know, I know that you had a lot of things to prove this year in North America. I do believe that you have a lot of things to prove at Worlds here as well. What is the main goal for you, UmTi?
Main goal? I mean, I'm just happy right now. And just like playing at this stage, what I have to enjoy more. This is more enjoyable right now.
It's been amazing having you on stage as well. A round of applause for UmTi once again, guys. Good luck on the draw. We'll find out about your opponents soon. Thank you so much for the interview.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
And we'll be back in just a couple of minutes for the draw show.
Oh, is there a draw show too?
Yeah, what a loose cannon in the interview. I love it. It's fun. What do you think?
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. That's kind of UmTi, right? He's a very emotional guy. And I think that the thing that we do well as a team is we ride his highs very well. And then when he's a little bit down, all the team rallies to pick him back up. So I love working with him. He's such an enjoyable, like, good, kind-hearted soul.
You know, I've kind of got to ask you then, like, how did you, rally to actually be able to come back after game number one? Because let's be honest, game number one was pretty abysmal compared to the level that you guys have shown throughout the year. It's not the same team I've watched in the LCS. You guys know that, and we even got to see a clip of you talking about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we really want it at the moment, right? And League of Legends, if you really want it too much, sometimes a good play actually just goes away. So I think that that's what we're suffering from at the moment. And I think the reason that we're trying to like grind our way through it is because when you're a good player and you play the game, then you start to see the game a lot more clearly than what we're seeing it at the moment. And I think that what actually happened in game one is we got completely destroyed, and then everyone was like, "Oh, this is actually the worst thing that can happen." Like we finally hit rock bottom. Like,
can't go downhill from here.
Like GAM again, and it was like I think everyone at that point took a sigh of relief. UmTi was like, "I don't want to play Maokai again. I'm just not playing well enough to play this champion." We had a couple of other drafts prepared, and then I think the great start to game two actually just kicked the team back into the gear that they've been playing in domestically.
Yeah, I mean, that level one, that was amazing. Were you happy at them holding their nerve? Because, it could have turned out differently as well.
Absolutely, it could have. That was actually, shout out to Hatham, our head analyst. That was actually a really good scouting prep from him. He knows that when they play strong level one, they like try and go ward one side and then go the other side really deep, so that when we knew they went that side, that was what they were going to commit to, and then we had a good trap prepared for it.
Yeah, I mean, the ward as well that you guys had in the river, spotting them walking up, so you could actually have that prep. Talk to me then, about how happy you are, with the position for the team overall. Because obviously you took down GAM, you took down Pain, but now you're going to have all these teams in the 2-2 bracket that are pretty terrifying and, potentially a pretty big level up in terms of competition.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that when we came into Worlds, we had a lot of confidence because the boot camp was going really well. And then, as I said, that confidence kind of eroded with our stage performance. So I actually like the way we're doing it. I feel like I started like Pokemon and I've gone through the first badge and the second badge. Now I get to go to the third badge. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I was wondering because I think we have two very distinct kind of different teams from LCS who are still in the running, right? And FlyQuest has been getting a lot of praise for their approach and the fact that they said, we're actually going to deprioritize the scrims versus LCK and LPL in order to kind of protect our peace, but also protect our strategies because we feel that is the best approach to having to beat them. I feel like you guys are different in that you took a lot of scrims with them, right? And you had to deal with also the fallout if it wasn't working well. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, credit to FlyQuest's coaching staff because they really know what works for their team and they've been playing brilliantly on stage, right? So I think that that's actually awesome for them. And then I think that the difference for us is that EWC, when we had great scrims versus the top teams, we actually found a lot of confidence from that. And I guess Core and I are the two leaders of the team and we're both just big grinders. We're the kind of people that when the brick wall's not going down, we just bang our head into it a couple more times. So if that's what the culture is of the team, that's what people expect. So if you take your foot off the brake at the last moment, then that can sometimes send the wrong message, and we don't want to do that. So, we'll just stick to the grind.
We know you like that. Ezreal and I have worked with you, and you have always been like this. So it's good to hear that it's still the case, and hopefully it's yielding to results. Talk to me about the possible draws and who you'd like to avoid, etc.
I mean, I really don't care who we play, to be honest, at this stage, because I think that you guys will see as well that it's on us to play our game. In saying that, I think the fans have wanted us versus G2 the whole of the year.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's probably, you know, I always say this, we do it for the fans, right? We
cool.
love the fact that, you know, they support us so much. I love the haters as well. So I think that if we could get the fan game, that would be great.
Yeah, I mean, it would be exciting. I'd be interested, what's your opinion on if you guys were going to play FlyQuest? Because I know some people are like, let's get the guaranteed quarters. But I feel like I want to see our teams beat teams from other regions and prove our worth on the international stage.
I don't even think either of us or FlyQuest would want to make quarters that way, to be completely honest. And it's not because we don't want to make it there, it's because of exactly what you said. And, you know, team kills are never fun. In saying that, I did say the other day that we kind of went 1-1 in playoffs against them, and we do feel like behind the scenes, when this is all over, we need kind of that Rocky scene where Rocky fights Apollo Creed off camera. So I would like to do that with FlyQuest at some point, but definitely not to make a quarterfinal.
No, I get what you mean for sure. I mean, for me, the big question is, I think, in watching kind of the LCS and seeing all of the methods, all the work is kind of correct. All the moves are correct. All the work that's put in is correct. But as to come back to what you opened up with, this is kind of it, right? This is the absolute final exam. And do you have confidence that because of maybe the lessons learned in those best of ones, but also in the series versus Spain, also in the series here versus GAM, are you confident that you've had enough now to get like over that hump and beat whoever you come across tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we have to remain confident and we have to remain calm. And I think that when we went into split one playoff this year, we had lost that. And then something just dropped one day and we went on a complete tear. And I think that, you know, I'm not saying this is going to be that momentum shift, but anything can be a momentum shift at this time of the year. It can be a good dinner, can be one player wakes up in a really great mood, says, you know what, guys, I'm going to carry today. So, yeah, I just think we have to keep riding it. We've got to be happy. We've got to enjoy it. I say to the guys all the time, you're playing on the world stage. Like, what more do you want at the moment?
What more do you want? Maybe a good draw, and it is time for it, I believe.
And an EU. To the World's 2024 Swiss Stage Round 5 Draw Show. I'm your host, Laure, and we already sent a few teams in quarterfinals already, as LNG, Gen GTS, HLE, and T1 already advanced to the Paris stage. That means that there are only 3 more spots remaining. And I will be joined tonight by official Riot Games tournament, Nick. Thank you so much. This bowl contains our remaining teams with a score of 2-2 who will be competing for a spot. As a reminder, repeat matchups are not allowed in the Swiss stage, and if a team is drawn against someone they have already played, or if a draw would force 2 other teams into a repeated matchup, the drawn team will be moved to the next available matchup. Our 2-2 teams consist of D+ Kia, FlyQuest, Bilibili Gaming, Weibo Gaming, and Team Liquid. Now, Nick, would you please draw the first team? D+ Kia. And they will be facing Weibo Gaming. And now for the second matchup, the first team is FlyQuest. And they will be playing against Team Liquid Honda. Now let's draw the third matchup. The first team is G2 Esport. And they will be facing off against Bilibili Gaming. Here are the final matchups of the World's 2024 Swiss stage. Round 5 will be played tomorrow, October 13, where at least the last 3 teams will advance to the knockout stage. And remember, league officials will confirm the order of the matches later tonight, so be sure to follow us on lolesports.com to see the schedule as it is locked in. Good night, everyone, and see you tomorrow.
I feel like everyone's disappointed. This sucks.
Why?
Bring back Malu.
Bring Malu back immediately.
We got no NAEU in the entire Swiss stage.
But you get bragging rights because you're getting out of Swiss, baby.
That's not the way I want it.
Hey, you know what? Before the draw, that wasn't the way I wanted either. However, now the draw's happened.
Man, but wouldn't it be so hype if we had 2 teams in?
Yeah, it would be.
Can you please be happy with one? Because
I can't.
I'm over here
because
having to
it's
play
the way.
BLG, okay?
That's okay.
That's the worst possible draw.
Likewise, just had to play HLE. They almost beat them. That's the other #1 seed.
Yeah, TL, you beat...
This is the bad #1 seed. They were in the 1 and 2 bracket.
So TL beats GAM and Pain and gets FlyQuest, and G2 beats Weibo and gets BLG. I love the draw system instead of normal Swiss. I love it. But hey.
Me too, actually.
I'm so pissed. Oh, man. Oh, and DK versus, we didn't even mention it yet, but DK versus Weibo.
How are you feeling about the matchup?
Against FlyQuest?
Yeah.
Obviously, we know each other very well.
Yeah.
So I think that both teams would probably be quite happy that they drew each other from a gameplay perspective. Obviously, from a narrative perspective, not. We feel like we actually took a lot away from that summer final. So, yeah, bring it on.
Do you think comfort in knowing your opponent helps or hurts you guys in this series? Because obviously, yeah, you did look much better than TL, or rather than Fly for the majority of the split, but then they did kind of dominate you in the finals.
I mean, yeah, but then we beat them a week before the finals or whatever it was, right? So, I mean, we will take solace in the fact that we have been a better team than them for the whole of summer split, and they beat us on one day, so we'll see if they can do it again.
Spawn. The minions locked in the fridge. There's no way you're losing that.
Oh, those damn minions, eh?
Those damn minions, unfortunate. Okay, let's do a series then, now that we got all the emotions out. So we have DK versus Weibo. DK, you know, they lost 0-2 to LNG, of course, right? Kind of a team that came out of left field, I think, as people thought for the strength for the LPL. And Weibo set aside Fnatic today. I don't know how much you want to read into that, Spawn. What's your gut check there?
I actually think both of these teams are so hot and cold that whoever shows up on the day is going to actually just run away with the series, is how I feel. I think that DK especially needs Showmaker to have just a fantastic series. And then on the side of Weibo, top lane seems to be their strength at the moment in this tournament. When Breathe is having a good game, they seem to function better as a team, I would say. So that's kind of my read on it, but I don't know who's going to win.
Yeah, I think as well, just Tarzan having a good day feels like a huge amount of their pressure as well.
Has he had one of those yet?
No, that's why I think it has to come through at some stage, you know?
That's all right.
I mean, it's tough, right? Because Weibo, to me, they came in and they wanted to play the same way that they played in the LPL, right? They wanted to play 80 carries mid. They wanted to play this similar style. And when it didn't work, 3 times in a row, after game 1 today, they say, all right, we're just going like full standard meta. We're drafting for 5v5, and let's hope that carries them through. And it will be interesting if they do that against DK, if it is just going to be one of those things that just goes late and just becomes about 5v5, because I think DK is very happy to play that style.
It is. I'm going to let Spawn go and wish you good luck for tomorrow.
No worries. Thank you very much.
No problem. And we're going to listen to an interview that was recorded earlier today with Razork after exiting the tournament.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Earlier today, Fnatic's run at Worlds ended sadly against Weibo Gaming, but I have Razork with me to talk about everything that's been happening with you guys and how you guys got here. Reaction on the series from your side, winning the first game, dropping the second too, and also staying on red side, which I think was surprising for Xiaohu when I talked to him. So talk me through the series and how it went.
Yeah, I mean, after the first game, even though we fall behind in early game, I think we had very good composition and we managed to play good fights. I think the second and third game, we were very scared. Me personally, I feel like I could have done much more with Bai. I could have engaged and looked for more opportunities that I didn't. So yeah, I'm feeling like a bit bad for that. But yeah, I mean, there is also a reason why we chose red side. We wanted to just get the draft that we had, and I think if we play properly, we should win, right? But wasn't the case because, as you said, we had like engaged champions, and we were not really engaging. So
you said that you were hesitating, and I felt you guys were scared, honestly, and I'm just wondering if it has something to do with confidence, either with your teammates or with, like, I don't know, the plan that you have. How can you explain this? Because I know that when you guys are decisive, you can really clutch any situation, so...
Well, I don't know how to answer that. I don't know if it's like we were like hesitating or we were not confident enough. I just felt like, yeah, we were not very crispy at pressing our buttons or very decisive, so... Yeah, I mean, if you're not decisive with a composition with Vi, Rel that you can engage, I think maybe we were like respecting them too much.
Okay.
When they were maybe out of position, and we thought that maybe it's Weibo or like as LPL team, maybe they are like actually thinking that they have a plan, but in reality they are just inting. So maybe it's a bit of that. Something that I've heard from an interview with Corejj and Inspired was agreeing with this is that even if you're dominant within your region, you arrive at Worlds and you're playing against teams who are going to play much faster, think about plays much faster, and it's not that you guys get worse, it's that you have issues adapting to what these guys are doing. Did you agree on this for Fnatic? Maybe? Yeah, I mean, I agree. I feel like also they punish mistakes harder. Like normally, like if you use a ultimate or like a flash, they actually punish it and play accordingly to it. I feel like in other regions or when you play in LEC, personally, I don't feel like they pressure you that much. And I think, yeah, when you face against these teams, you actually feel the pressure like, okay, I actually made a mistake and now I can't play for the next 1.5 minutes. There's one thing I believe in is your ability to bounce back, always, Razor. Thank you so much for this year and for this interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. Indeed, yeah, it's just tragic. I'm just going to say it because I ultimately think that Fnatic fell to the same issues they've had all year, and I think that is what really hurts because that's not something you want to see when you get to Worlds, right? But none of these are easy opponents. Weibo certainly isn't, so yeah.
My only hope is that this is finally the kick they need to say, hey, look, we've got to start looking at these. Because I think, as you say, it has been the same mistakes we've seen over the entire year that haven't really come through. Like, it's the same reason that they lost 0-3 to G2 in the finals. It was these small mistakes that were getting punished, but until maybe you have to lie down in the dirt to finally figure out that you need to get back out, right? And I think that's what I'm hoping this moment is.
And I think the hard part is, it's different if a team is just, you know, never good, then you're like, okay, that's just how they are. But like, they show these flashes of brilliance, right? Exactly. They really show their class and how good they can be at times. I mean, even beating G2 in a best of 5. And when they did beat G2 in that best of 5, I was like, maybe this is that moment that is actually going to send them over the edge, and we're going to get this next level of Fnatic. So, you know, that's the part that was sad for me, because I know that these players are capable of showing a lot more, but they just weren't able to get it together.
And I think that is also kind of the central through line for tomorrow for all of these teams, right? You look across Kia, who has been so up and down, who took very, very long in the season to even rally to get here. Can they now get it together and not have those mid-game issues again? Same with Weibo, who can be a bit of a roller coaster sometimes. Same with G2, who have 600+ days worked towards this and now have to go up against the #1 seed of the LPL in order to go through. BLG, who has been underperforming this World Championship and needs to win this best of 3 to even make it out. And then the LCS, they have guaranteed one team in the quarterfinals, but between FlyQuest and Team Liquid, it is a grudge match. It is a LCS rematch of the final, and it is absolutely delicious. We have the sickest day of games ahead of us tomorrow for the very last show of the Swiss stage of Worlds 2024 live here from Berlin. So I'm going to sign off, and I hope that you're aptly prepared to have a good kip and join us tomorrow for the madness.
Bring your popcorn.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Tarzan here.
here, but the first blood still just comes through, and Tarzan diving onto Razork now underneath the turret, and it's a double!
Look at Leona, guys. Leona. No flash, calm down. Very good, guys. I ult him. Look at, I got nice. Lucian. Heal the Renek after, guys. Heal the Renek after, okay?
We can go.
Yeah. Look at Nida, guys. I can get the Nida. I ult here. Nida.
Nice!
Now we are gonna be the Chinese slayers. It can be really funny, like if we beat Weibo and beat Yeon.
The Scan is taken out. Razork with an amazing flash, but Light is now in the fight, and Noah will be taken out. It's a double. It is gigantic. Triple now. They look for Breathe. They get him down low once again, and finally he falls. But at the same time, it's a triple. And Weibo Gaming will keep themselves alive.
Hey boys, the energy in here today is really good, and I like that energy on stage, so let's make sure that we keep it up, okay?
Okay. The dive looks a lot better for GAM. This
this dive! And now it's going to be APA that's the target. Levi is so dangerous. That shockwave was absolutely sick. 4TL is the question. Gets health bus is so low. They keep the phalanx. And Kiaya is now just bonking them all on the head. That is going to be the team fight win, and GAM might just walk through.
Highly likely they're gonna invading our left side. I think keep hiding. Hiding. Until he face check. Looking buy. Buy plus Ash. Ash now. Ash to flash.
And they use that Baron, push in. They've got enough money and another one.
There's a 4-man pop blossom. Everyone is just put into the blender. TL, they do want to get out of this game. Move to that game number 3.
Jax is dead. Jax. Let's go Baron. Let's go Baron. Where's ball? We've got to Baron.
Emo is just eviscerated in one swift stroke, and there's the pop blossom. Levi was the target, understandably so. And TL will take down their second Nexus of the series and keep themselves alive at Worlds 2024.